Welcome to this week's episode of Tough Coffee Shop Talk. I'm your host, Rhonda Lavoie. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button so you never miss another episode. Each week, I meet with members from Tough Collaborative to chat about varying topics. And each week, you can join me here as I review that topic of the week. We have a wide range of topics discussing anything from business building tips to personal development ideas. And the best part is, I feel that the topics can touch anybody, no matter what their adventure is in life. If you're self-employed, entrepreneur, working in a corporation, stay-at-home parent, retired, or in between jobs, I think there's just a little bit for everyone. So I'd like to dive right in. Let's talk about this week's conversation of the week. This week we talked about origin stories. And it's something that I kind of thought would be interesting for all of our members to ponder what their origin story is. Because I feel like we so often just kind of float through life, going from one task to the next or from one experience to the next. And we don't spend enough time reflecting. And we then kind of skim the surface of our experiences without actually really being able to determine what they are. And with an origin story, it can kind of evolve into your elevator pitch, so to speak. That thing that you can, explain why you do what you do or how you got into what you're doing and explain it so it's interesting. And I am definitely a culprit for not doing this correctly or not doing this efficiently, where I can optimize my story to engage my audience. Often when I've been asked, why did you get into real estate? My pitch is probably 8 seconds or less, and it's pretty dry and boring. Yet when I reflect on it, there's actually a lot more to it that I haven't given myself credit for, and by skimming over, I'm definitely not doing it any justice. So I thought by reflecting on our origin stories and discussing, how to reflect on it and the questions to ask of ourselves, we would be able to craft our origin story into that effective elevator pitch, or better yet, be able to utilize it in our posts on social media or maybe on our websites or even in our newsletters, so that we can appeal to our audience and have our audience connect with us. So, what is that origin story? Well, it's really just describes the history or background of your business or yourself and highlights, its founding values and how it's kind of evolved over time. And it can be used as context or narrative that can resonate with your customer, your client, to kind of create that personal connection. Building connection through that narrative can create some emotion, which will then evoke that connection. And it'll also bring to light your values, which will then determine, your clients will determine if they share those values, which will create that connection. And if you do it right, it'll become memorable. Honestly, the pitch I have right now, not memorable. I'm not sure you would even remember I'm in real estate after that I talked to you. But my goal is to, craft it so that it becomes a memorable message, so that when they look back to the conversation, they'll not only know what I do, but have connected with me on some level because they, have a connection to maybe my values or my story. Some of the things we talked about were, what are some key components to crafting that origin story? So you need to reflect on, what are the foundational moments? So identify those key events or experiences that influence the founding of your business or the change in your career or wherever you're at. And then what inspired that creation? You'll also look at things that created, or were challenges or things that you conquered or overcame, milestones that you've had. You'll look at your core values, because likely if you step back and you look at your business, they will reflect naturally to your core values, even if you haven't defined what those values are. They typically will connect automatically because they are who you are. Same goes for your mission and your vision. What drives your business, and what do you hope to achieve? Likely, if you sit down and do this, you'll be able to look at that origin story and reflect on it, and then determine, what is my goal? Where am I going? What is my mission? What is my vision? And be able to include those in that origin story. And then, try and pay attention to those things that, what makes you special? What is special about that story that can resonate with others? Talked a little bit about strategic storytelling. So, you may actually have the same base of an origin story, but you might have two different versions or multiple versions of it, because you'll have one version that will appeal to this audience, and one that'll appeal to a different audience, and it'll be based on the values that you had or the experience within that. And you may not even know which audience it appeals to, until you've expressed your story and you have those people connect with you. When we were talking about our origin stories and how people will connect with it, and how we don't even realize how we're inspiring people. It's not every day that you have somebody walk up to you and go, "Hey, you inspired me to do better," or because of you, I did XYZ. Not very often we actually have that happen. I will promise you that when it does happen to you, it feels amazing, and that it's just, makes you realize that what you're doing matters. But you need to know that it already matters. Just because somebody hasn't told you you have affected them in some way and that you've inspired them to do differently doesn't mean that you aren't. I promise you, you are inspiring others to do differently. And just by expressing your story so that people can relate to it and connect with you, yes, it has value to you, but know that that has value to other people, right? That connection and being inspired by your story is important to share, because sharing it will inspire somebody else. So crafting multiple versions of that story, might appeal to different people and inspire different people, but know that you may never know exactly which people it's inspiring. But when they do tell you, it does feel pretty darn good. And then near the end, we talked about just different ways to communicate your story once you have created it. You can share it on your social media platforms, create videos, YouTube. You can have it as a part of your About Us section on your website, or, you can even call it your origins if you want to. When you're at networking events and somebody asks you what you do, you can now have a little bit more interesting story to say, instead of, "Hey, I'm a real estate agent." It's pretty boring, I know. Craft it into something that just is engaging, so that you are memorable to that person at that networking event. And then just spin it the way that makes sense for you. Use it the way that makes sense for you. So if you're into social media and that's something that fires you up and inspires you to do more of, by all means do it there. If that's not the case, maybe it is just in that elevator pitch when you're meeting with your clients, or when somebody asks you what you do, you can, enlighten them and also inspire them a little bit by your story. When we were meeting, I brought a bit of a take-home form, and it had a bunch of questions on it to inspire the members, and guide them, in a sense, on how to really dig out what your origin story is. And in that question document, it had different sections. So like that personal inspiration. So what inspired you to start your business, as an example? And then foundational values. What are the core values that drive your business? Section for defining moments, and a section for your milestones, because those are important to capture as well. When we're talking about that, I explained to some of the members that by me making Icon as an example, so within eXp Realty, there's a milestone for us by becoming an Icon agent, which means I've fulfilled a certain percentage of transactions, along with a certain amount of fees and whatnot. There's a structure to it. If you're ever curious of what that actually means, by all means reach out. But ultimately, by doing a certain volume, you will reach Icon. And I love that by me achieving Icon can inspire others who maybe think that they don't fit the same boxes everybody else does in real estate, because let's face it, in real estate, there is an expectation of what you look like and how you act and how you do your hair and how much makeup you may wear and all of these things. But anybody who knows me knows that I don't fit that box. I don't fill that bucket, and I don't have to. I don't need to drive a Mercedes and, get extensions and lashes and whatnot. I don't know what everybody does. I don't even know what they are to explain that, because I don't do it. I'm just regular old me. And I love that by being regular old me, just who I am, authentically me, can inspire somebody else who is authentically them to try and become an icon agent, because it is certainly possible. And, that's a milestone that I achieved last year, and I hope to achieve again this year. So by going through my story and my origin story, that might be something that I use in that pitch, is that I don't fit the mold that was predefined, and that, I hope to revolutionize real estate in the sense that you don't have to be that mold to be successful in real estate. Anyway, some more questions that came out in this little 2-page form that I supplied to the members is, how your connection to the client. In what ways do your experiences resonate with clients? How can your story help them feel understood or inspired? What's your unique journey? There might be unique pieces out of it that you actually might not even realize are unique, because it's your own story. You may not realize that not everyone has experienced those things. So going through defining that and then telling that story to others, it will inspire others, because now they also realize that somebody else has done that thing, that they aren't unique, and that it is possible, like the icon thing. And then really key piece, which I've talked about multiple times on the show about different aspects, but don't forget to reflect and grow with your origin story. It's not static. Just because it's the beginning doesn't mean it evolves into something. So be sure to revisit it. I would suggest annually once you've defined it, just because, one, it's good for us to be able to look at that and really connect with it again, because by reflecting on what your origins are and defining that and crafting that message really does reflect on, where you've come from, give you some respect for yourself and what you've tackled and the things that you've undergone and the things that you've achieved. But it'll also help you add to your stories by reflecting on it annually, because there'll be new lessons that you've learned or new milestones that you've achieved that you might want to share in your message. And then you can also look at, what the future looks like. So you can roll your goals into there, or where you're hoping to go, because that's also inspiring to others, that if you have a goal to achieve X, that will appeal to others who also have that same goal. So I actually believe that, revisiting your origin story right around the same time that you're doing your goal setting is probably a good idea, simply because you're already be reflecting, and you can be looking at that goals and whatnot. And then at the very end of the document, it just talks again about that engagement and sharing, and, how are you going to share your story? What are the platforms that you're going to use, or pitches that you're going to have, or events that you're going to do it at, so that you can be prepared to do that. And then the last thing we did at the meeting was just talk about how we're each going to take some time and craft our origin story, and that at a future date, we're going to, do our pitch. We're going to tell each other our origin story, which will be fantastic, because it's a safe place to do so. We'll have, good criticism, good feedback. Plus, it'll be a comfortable space to be able to do it, so that we don't have to have that feeling of pressure, and we can practice it a little bit. So I'm excited to hear what everybody comes up with and how they craft it into something that is an interesting story, so that they can use it when storytelling, at events or in the social media, or however they're going to use this message to relate with their clients. Well, that concludes our episode this week. Thanks so much for being here. It really does mean a lot to me. If you haven't already, please subscribe or hit that follow button, as I'd love if you came back week to week. If you're looking for more information on the membership, check out tufinstitute.com. Or if you want more info on me and my real estate business, check out theurbanfarmhousesaskatoon.com. Looking for my socials? I'm on Instagram at rhondalavoy_TUF and on Facebook at The Urban Farmhouse Saskatoon or Rhonda Lavoy - The Urban Farmhouse and eXp Realty. Reach out anytime. I'd love to hear from you. I really hope you have a marvelous day, and I can't wait to bring you an episode again next week.